Hello and welcome back to Mads World. I'm your host Mads and I'm delighted to welcome you back to another week of the podcast. If you are enjoying Mads World each week, please remember to subscribe, rate and review the podcast or just share it with a mate who might enjoy it. This week on Mads World, in celebration of my 8 months sober, I am thrilled to be joined by Instagram meme page owner Loz McQ. Loz runs Brutal Recovery to let people in all paths of recovery know that sometimes recovery is messy, it's often painful, frequently hilarious, and always worth it. She does this through memes, dark humour, and a Friday feature of anonymous submissions of people's tales of drunken debauchery to remind us how the worst, most embarrassing things that ever happened to us will be long ago one day, and we do fucking recover. Hello, Loz McQ.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining the podcast. I'm so excited about this ep because I was 8 months sober yesterday and this feels very fitting to, have you on the show.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy 8 months.
Thank you so much. So let's jump into our speed date round so that everyone can get a bit more of an idea about you, Loz McQ. So how long have you run the Brutal Recovery Instagram?
So the Brutal Recovery Instagram was born on Boxing Day, I think it was 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think it's over 2 now. Yeah, I was just having one of those the day after Christmas. It was my first Christmas sober. And I was just feeling pretty miserable and pretty sorry for myself. And I was like on Instagram and I was just kind of like, do you know what? I'm going to I'm going to make content for me. I'm going to make the content I want to see, which is kind of the ups and downs and highs and lows of sobriety.
I love that so much. And how long have you been sober and how long had you been sober and when you made the page?
So I've been sober since March the 6th, 2018. So
amazing.
I had probably about 8-9 months or so. So your time is now. It's time to make Instagram. So like I still felt like I survived my first Christmas, but it still felt pretty early and I was still kind of working a lot of things out.
Yeah, definitely. And what's it like running a meme page? And do you have another job or is this your full-time job now?
Oh man, I wish it was my full-time job. No, I do have I work as a music teacher. So it's really funny. I work with small kids, which is kind of like, I feel like I have as a drunk person, like I'm very used to like people talking shit all the time and crying randomly. So I'm quite well equipped to work with very small children.
Oh my God.
I do lots of, I'm a freelance musician as well. So I've got like lots of, I'm all over the place just in the sphere of music and creative arts and I write. So yeah.
And in saying that, what's it like running a meme page on the side then?
Yeah, it's really funny. I do like to see it like as work. Like it's something that I make a daily commitment to it. Like I try to put a post up every day. I try to reply to as many messages as I can. I've got like the different themes on days for the stories that I do. I'll do like a day of reposts, I'll do a day of like general questions, I'll do the Friday fun times. So, there's a lot of spontaneity to it. And like, because obviously a lot of it's like quite autobiographical, and based on, my own highs and lows. So, there's an aspect of it that's like, okay, this is something that I contribute to the world frequently. I've got my structure, but there are those moments of spontaneity. Like, I think one of the things that's important is like, if I am feeling awful and my recovery is in the toilet, I can't be making, I can't be making like, I want to die memes. Like, that's only funny when I'm in a good headspace, like, and I can kind of like laugh at it. If it's just me moaning about how much I want to die, like that's like, I should probably call someone.
Rather than relying on humour.
Yeah. So it's funny. And you got to walk a line, like, walking that line of like, am I overexposing myself here? Or is this me, contributing my humour to the world? So,
and being authentic. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of that sort of comes out in the podcast as well. I wonder if, and obviously my mum thinks I'm oversharing every time I make a podcast, but sometimes I wonder if I am overexposing myself to the world. But you know what? Honestly, having a side hustle like a meme page or a podcast, it has helped with my recovery so much. Just having something that you feel responsible to, and like people are kind of checking in like, hey, when's the next episode or when's the next meme coming up,
Yeah. yeah, it's really nice. Like I definitely find that, and I find that, you know, the times that I do take breaks from it, the times that I do take a step back, like actually making that as time for me is really important. And then it's like, you know, kind of like finding a balance in it is really important. But then also like, it's like that, you know, that thing of like, there's strangers all over the world that care about how I'm doing. Like that's very nice. Like that's a little exercise in humanity. Like that's
Honestly,
nice.
I really do feel like everyone out there listening, you are contributing to my sobriety, because I feel like every time like yesterday I posted that I was 8 months sober, and I just had all these random people being like, that's amazing, you're inspiring me. And I'm like, girl, I don't even know you, but I love you.
Like, exactly. I say that all the time. Like even in the Friday Fun Time, I'm just like I don't know who you are, but I'm so happy you're sober, and I'm so happy you survived. Like it's a really nice way to bring people together through the humor, especially. I think that's 100%. Really important.
What is something that people might not realize about running a meme page?
You know, in that vein, I think like what I didn't expect was a lot of people message me asking for help or asking for advice, because, you know, I know that when I got sober, like I thought that because I still felt kind of fucked in the head that I wasn't doing it right. And I saw like a lot of content and a lot of people who got sober and their life turned out amazing. And I was like, oh my God, I've got sober and I'm realizing that I'm profoundly mentally ill. I can't handle my life. Like, I don't know what to do. I've got these huge emotions that I no longer have, like my anesthetic for. So I saw people with smoothies and doing yoga, which is things I love doing as well. But like, it was just kind of like, I couldn't feel like I could say like, hey, how do you do that? Because I just felt like shit. So like, I feel like what I didn't realize is like what I'm kind of portraying through like showing the highs and the lows is that makes people feel quite comfortable to message and say, I really relate to this, and I don't think I should be relating to this, but like I am, like, is this normal? And it's really nice to say like, yeah, this is totally normal. Like sobriety is not easy. Like sometimes it is yoga and smoothies. Those are the good days, but sometimes it's, you know, debilitating anxiety and not knowing like who you even fucking are. And you know, I love that I've found a way to express that. So a lot of people have felt more comfortable to message an anonymous meme page, which at first, I you know, I was talking to a friend about doing this podcast earlier, and I was kind of like, sometimes I don't know. I'm like, why? How does this meme page work? Like, why does this make people laugh? Like, and my friend was just like, oh, because it's real. Like, she's like, and this is a friend that I really respect, and she's like, you make me laugh, and I was like, oh. It makes people laugh. Like, and I think that's really important. So another thing, like people that might not realize about running a meme page is maybe this is expected, but like there's like a little bit of anxiety, kind of like, you know, because they're like my little thought babies. They're like my little things. And then I find the image and everything. And there's that moment before I post pretty much every meme where I'm like, oh shit, what if I'm the only person that feels like this way? What if I'm the only person that thinks this? Those are always the most popular ones. Like, those are always the ones that people are like, fuck.
They're probably the ones that no one's really ever thought to put into words before as well. Because if you're sitting there thinking, like, does anyone relate to this? But that's probably because you've never seen it before, because no one's articulated it on a meme before.
Totally. It's such a great medium for just getting that out there, you know?
Yeah, it's so cool. And you know what? I think a lot of people, and I found this really challenging before I discovered the sobriety meme world, is a lot of people sort of come together over alcohol in memes, and like the comradeship that you get from, you know, sharing a meme of, oh, this is what I look like on a Sunday morning and it's some ugly person or whatever, you know, you feel like you're missing out because, sobriety on social media is all kind of sunshine and rainbows half the time and all about, like all the good feelings you're going to have. But you don't get that sort of, I don't know, like comradeship. Am I saying that right? Comradeship, camaraderie. Yeah. You don't get the same camaraderie that you get from, you know, people sitting around feeling sorry for themselves when they're hungover in that vulnerable space. So I think I just absolutely love this brutal recovery. I love the page. It's amazing. So,
I'm so glad.
Yeah. So I've got another question for you is, what is the best thing about being sober?
Oh my goodness. I think the best thing about being sober is finding out who I am. I started drinking when I was about 13,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't really know who I was then. That's why I drank, because
Mm-hmm.
I was scared. I was just a really, really scared human being. So,
Yeah.
and I got sober. Well, I tried to get sober many times, but
Mm-hmm.
didn't get any continuous sobriety until I was about 25. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was met with that same 13-year-old who didn't really know who she was. And I think like it's a long process. Like literally
Mm-hmm.
about a month ago,
Mm-hmm.
I finally worked out what clothes I like wearing. You know, even
Yeah.
today, like I was talking to a friend where I was kind of like, I've been listening to the same albums for 10 years. Like, can you recommend some new music to me? Like, it's
Yes.
that whole, just like finding out who I am, and like not just interests, like my principles and my values and
Mm.
all of those things. So I think for me, it's been the scariest thing, because I think if you're inclined to have that addictive personality, like
Mm-hmm.
the emotions are bigger, and you fear rejection and abandonment. So like the idea of
Mm.
being who you are is quite terrifying, but it's
Absolutely.
kind of the best thing.
It's incredible, isn't it? I think even like things I thought that I liked, like you were saying with liking the same album for the last 10 years and that sort of thing. You don't really go and intentionally explore new options. Like I was just reading the same crime thriller books. I was reading, like the same magazines. I was watching the same kind of movies. And I think because you have all this spare time in sobriety where you're not drunk or hungover, and you kind
Totally.
of have time to explore different avenues, and you're like, oh, I actually really like reading self-help books, or I actually really like documentaries, or like
Right.
different kind of music. I totally relate to that. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
So my last question is, how do you think memes or comedy in general helps us come together and laugh through difficult things like recovery or like COVID?
Yeah. So I think it's really important kind of for me in the sphere of recovery. Like my recovery is the most important thing pretty much in my life, because like if I'm not in a
Mm-hmm.
state of recovery, I'm not having a life.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've lived that life, and
Mm-hmm.
it's small and it's terrifying, and I'm not present for it. So
Yeah.
having that on this, like the what happens if I don't take care of my recovery, it's pretty scary, and like it's pretty
Mm.
like, okay, I've got to take this thing really seriously. Having that as what happens if I don't take care of my recovery is a scary prospect. So
Mm-hmm.
I've got to take this seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But I am a sarcastic, dark humor, Scottish mentalist. Like I need to be flippant and funny and dark, and having it as this like as rightfully the most important thing in my life is
Mm.
made a little bit better just by like finding the humor in it and finding the
Mm-hmm.
levity in it. And kind of what you were saying, like I used to find on one of my old Instagrams, like my personal Instagram from when I was like in uni, and everything I followed was like wine memes and like
Yeah.
night out memes and it's stuff, and it's just like all that stuff that I used to like laugh at so much, like, oh yeah, like I'm having the time of my life, like crying
Mm-hmm.
with a hangover, like wishing that I was dead. So I think like having the humor in recovery like just gets it like to the right size and in the right space where it's kind of like, yeah, this is the most important thing in my life, but I do not take myself too seriously. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
it's just that really good balancing thing. And it
Yeah.
keeps it light. It's a state of ease.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I just think that it is really a good way. Like, I'm gonna get like become like a memeologist now, but I just think the meme is like a wonderful format because it's quick, it's fast, it's like on the cultural like curve.
Yeah.
Like it keeps it current, and it makes sobriety current, because sobriety is
Yeah.
not just for people that signed an abstinence pledge in 1830. It's not just
Yeah.
for people who are 60. It's not just for people who have,
Love the gym. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it's for whoever needs it or whoever wants it,
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
absolutely just such a viable choice. And I'm fucking glad I'm sober. I love being sober. So I think
Yeah.
that like keeping keeping it like in the sphere of like, this is a relevant thing for young women or literally anyone, I think is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, it's important. I think humor brings people together, and the power of shared experience is something we've talked about so many times on this podcast, with people's weird stories, people's stories of failure, people's bad date stories, people's stories of, all kinds of things. And I think the thing that I'm really finding, and all the messages I get about this podcast, is people saying, oh my God, it's not just me. It's not just, sunshine and rainbows. Sobriety can be really difficult. And I think to make yourself realize sobriety can be funny, it can be, you can keep it light, make a bit of a joke about all the hard times and stuff. The power of shared experience through that is just, it's awesome.
There's not been a single thing that I all of the things that I was ashamed about that I did drunk, and all of the abhorrent behavior, and I still do sober. Like, I am sober, not a saint, but I'd say that I now feel really comfortable sharing that with people, and people just say, oh shit, me too. Like, oh, I've totally done that. Like, oh, I did that, but like in New York, not London. Like, oh, I did that. Like, and it just takes the air out of the tire. It just means that we don't sit with this like festering inside us like some toothache. Like, it's just kind of like, oh fuck, I'm not special, I'm not different. Like, this is.
And I guess that's the same with any sort of traumatic experience or any grieving process. Something that really helps me, whether it's a breakup or any other sort of unfortunate situation, is when someone explains their experience with a similar thing, and you're sort of like, oh wow, I'm really not special. Like, this wasn't the one who left me, and that, like, it happens to everyone. And although, someone said something to me recently, which was so funny, but it actually was quite profound, is that when you're going through a heartbreak and it feels like the worst thing in the world, like, people on Love Island, people on like Ex on the Beach, like, dumb people have the same feelings, even if they can't articulate them in the same way that we do, like, or the same way that, Einstein might articulate his feelings. Like, feelings are a human experience, whether you can speak about them in a profound way and learn from them or not. Like, the core feeling is the same. And I just found that so interesting. Like, of course, people on Love Island have brains, and, I love Love Island. Like, I'm just, you know what I mean? It's just interesting to think that we're all going through this, weird experience. We're all experiencing the same shit. And it's just,
no one's had a trauma-free existence.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's one of the things, I promise I'll stop. I'm such a talker. I'm so sorry.
It's a podcast. It's allowed.
Fuck yes. That I think one of the things I love about particularly people who follow an early recovery is like, the stuff that I share, like, from my early recovery, even though I still do get frequently like early recovery days where I'm like, fuck, I really got to take care of myself today because I am shaky on my feet. But like, largely on the atomic level, I'm a different person than I was like 3 and a bit years ago. Yeah. So it's kind of like the message of like, this feels like the worst thing in the world right now, but one day you will laugh about this. One day this will not feel like the worst thing in the world. One day this will be okay. And yeah, like, regardless of who you are and like where you've been or how you articulate your feelings, like, this will be okay. Like, you'll be fine.
Absolutely. And there's just so many examples of that in everyone in your life. Like, you see it in your friends, your family, people around you, people at work, everyone's going through the same things, aren't they?
Totally.
Right. Well, that is all of our speed date questions. So our next segment is story time, and you must have some amazing stories. After this, we have some submissions, which I've had to categorize because you had so many amazing ones, but I thought it might be time for you to share one of your funniest stories.
Oh my goodness. I was just, so, okay, I'll try and be as brief as I can. So I think like one of the things, like when I was drinking, consequences, like I just didn't believe that I was a human being that got the same consequences as other human beings on earth.
Yeah.
And I did this on the small scale and the large scale. So on the large scale, I just fucked off to Russia and just thought like, this is it. Like, I'm Russian, and I talk like I had this Russian alter ego called I can't even pronounce my Russian alter ego surname. It's like Rastropovchina or something. Like, it's not a name. It's my name on Amazon still, because like I had this Russian alter ego. So I ran away to Russia, and I did have a visa to get in, but I overstayed that visa like chronically. And like I was with a Russian person, and they were just kind of like, you need to leave. You're an illegal, like, you know, UK citizen in Russia right now. And I was like, what? Like, oh, let's go to the Red Square. And you just can't do that. So like I had this like drunken escape from Russia, like through Ukraine. And the worst part of this was I ran out of money, obviously, because I wasn't working.
God.
And I had to get the megabus from London to Glasgow. And if anyone knows that megabus, you'll know why that's the worst part of the story.
What is it, like 15 hours, but maybe more, 20 hours or something?
It's like £7 and like 15 hours. And like I hadn't washed in like 3 days, and the only thing I'd eaten was like pierogi and vodka. So
oh my
for like
God.
a month. So that was like large scale. On the small scale, like I was just like, you're run of the mill. Like I loved taking my clothes off in clubs. Like I just loved it. And I would make it like this big ritual. And like there was one night out, my friend got me tickets to a band that I don't even remember in this club that in Glasgow I don't even remember.
Good.
And I went out and I'd work the next day, and I remember just thinking like, oh, I'll be gone by like 1, and that'll give me enough time to get to work by 9, because I was younger then, and that seemed reasonable. Like I stayed out till 4, and then I had like a threesome with my neighbor, and I had a boyfriend at the time, and I took my clothes off and like passed them to the front of the stage as if it was like an offering to the club, like, here are my clothes.
To the DJ.
Like you're welcome. So that was the sort of drinker I was.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I think my sort of experiences are similar. I mean, the very worst of my drinking was in lockdown. So thankfully I wasn't in a club getting naked. But I mean, I just kind of be on like 3 to 4 day benders where I just do all kinds of things. And I mean, everyone at the time was really paranoid about COVID, and rightfully so. But I was just like running around the neighborhood, like canoodling with like my neighbors, like all sorts of things. And yeah, I think if it wasn't for lockdown, I definitely wouldn't have realized how much I needed sobriety and how much it would benefit me. So I think in terms of failures and learning from your failures, one of my biggest failures is like becoming an alcoholic. But I think if I didn't get to that level, I never would have experienced the beauty of sobriety. So I am pretty grateful that all of that happened, to be honest.
Totally. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like my escalation was quite quick, and like I was 25, like it's not necessarily like, that is not elderly, but like, and I genuinely you know, while the escalation was like quite traumatic in itself, I'm kind of like, do you know what though, but like I needed that desperation to get to where I am now, which is like, oh right, I have this thing happened, and now I get to be present for pretty much every day of my life. Like that's a gift.
And you know what? I think because I went through a breakup quite recently, and I've been thinking a lot about the parallels between giving up alcohol and like going through a breakup. I mean, you kind of have to come to terms with your new life, like say goodbye to the old you and like the old person you were in that relationship, and sort of you go through it and you're like, oh, I can't believe I have to be sober forever. This is going to suck. And then it's like, I can't believe I have to be alone forever. This is going to suck. And then you get to a point where you're sort of like, oh, hang on, the sun's coming up. This is actually pretty good. And then
Wait, when was your breakup?
Oh, about 6 weeks ago. So,
oh my God,
you know,
that's really recent.
Yeah, really recent. I know, but I think the sobriety is helping because I'm actually healing in a healthy, proper way. Like the feelings are, I think it'd be worse. I think I probably would have been on a few more 4 day benders, like if I was drinking. But I thought when the breakup happened, instantly I was like, oh God, this sucks. I'm not going to be able to stay sober. But then the more the days went on, I was sort of like, this is great. Like I don't have to drink, you know, I don't have to wake up hungover and just be traumatized about what I'd done or what I'd said, or, you know, feel all the feelings like come crashing back doubly as hard. So I think, it was weird. I was worried about drinking, but then I just became relieved that I wasn't drinking. So it's been a journey.
Oh man. Yeah. I went through, I had a sober breakup in, November. So it feels like yesterday because time is really not real right now.
It's not real.
But like, I feel you so hard right there, where it's kind of like, oh, this feeling is going to categorically last forever. And you're like, oh wait, no feeling on earth lasts forever.
Yeah, I think I used to find it sad that nothing lasts forever, but it is strangely comforting that nothing lasts forever either, because it means that any pain you're going through is going to subside. So I guess if we're being glass half full people, it is a blessing, not a curse. Right. Well, We have had some of your submissions through. So every Friday on Brutal Recovery, you do, is it called Friday Fun Times?
Friday Fun Times.
Friday Fun Times. So you've got a lot of people in recovery that love your memes and love your page. So they all submit at our benefit the funniest and most fucked up stuff that they've ever done. So there were so many. So I've categorized them into vomit submissions, sex submissions, soiling yourself submissions, injury submissions, love submissions, drug submissions, and then just weird submissions, because there was no category for the just weird stuff. So I lumped it all into one category at the end. Because some of them I was like, what? Is there like a cult section? Is there going to be like a dishwasher section? Like, I don't know. So let's go through them. We will do the voice disguiser that everybody loves on this podcast, and we can have a chat about them as we go. So to start off with vomit submissions.
Threw up in my dress in an Uber, lifted up hem of dress to create a basket of sorts.
It's just resourceful right there.
Honestly, I would say that, yeah, resourceful, 10 out of 10 vomiting. Me throwing up in an Uber, it's more just like some kind of splattering artwork that is, there's no design to it.
Is it still a £50 fine? I remember like back in my drinking days, it was a £50 fine if you threw up in an Uber. Oh my God.
It was £110 for me. Like,
oh my God. Inflation.
Yeah, they really put it up. And I tried to go back to them and say, that wasn't me. I did not do that. Prove it. And then he just sent me a photo of my own vomit on a leather seat. And I was like, well, touche. It was me. You got me. It was like time stamped and everything. He's just like, this is when you're in the car. This is when I saw the vomit. I was like, fair enough.
They know our type. They know our type.
They know. Right. The next one is.
Chugged full bottle of balsamic dressing for 10 quid, never got paid, threw up on a bonfire.
It's the bonfire detail for me. Like on a bonfire.
On a bonfire, not around it, just on it. And you know what? I've realized that you don't have to be drunk to do things like balsamic dressing sculling, because that's the sort of thing I do sober just for a laugh. And I don't know whether it's because I'm attention deprived or if I just like being in pain, but I would do something like eat a bird's eye chili, you know, for $30. Like,
of course.
Why wouldn't you?
Makes perfect sense.
The last of our vomit submissions is
11 a.m. Uber, pull over for me to bath. I blamed pregnancy. He was sincerely delighted for me.
I have 100% done that.
What a nice man. 5 stars.
I love that it's 11 a.m. That's such a good detail.
And she's probably coming across from South London to North, and it's just like, this is a £70 Uber. Ask me if I care. Ask me. I don't. Up next are our sex submissions. So,
had an orgy in a river. Cows were watching.
Lucky cows.
As someone who grew up on a farm, like, I just love that. Like that. Like the pair of cows.
The amount of stuff that cows must see, like just being out in fields and drunk people existing, you know?
Drunk people existing.
Just them existing.
Shagged boss's boyfriend in a park. Panic shagged a colleague to make it better.
Well, if you do the maths, it works out.
Just the phrase panic shag is palpable. Like I feel that. Like I've definitely panic shagged someone to just get rid of the one before. Like, oh, didn't happen. Like anyone will do. Like, give me anyone.
Didn't happen. Don't remember it. If I don't remember it, didn't happen. That is not a good way to live. If you're out there listening, do not try that at home.
Would not recommend.
Right, here's the next one.
Slept with an old man who lived in a horse box. Then he said he could heal me with mushrooms.
Okay, if anyone ever says they could heal you with mushrooms, they are lying.
I see him as like this like mystic in my head, but he probably was not. So.
With like a crystal ball. Like, come into my horse box.
Come into my horse box. I wonder how like horse boxes aren't comfortable. Like I wonder how you live in a horse box.
I don't know. Does he have a car on the front? Is there hay in the horse box? Where does he sleep?
We have questions.
So many questions.
He's got mushrooms though, so he's fine. Like he's healed because he's got the mushrooms.
Yeah, he can heal people with mushrooms. I mean, that's at least what
he's got it worked out.
Okay, here's our last sex submission.
Touched a stranger's penis in exchange for an accordion. I never got the accordion.
No.
That's, oh man. How great would it be if you got that accordion and every time you played it, you'd think like, oh, I touched a dick for this.
Touched a dick for this.
This is my dick accordion.
Sadly, they're just sitting there not playing an accordion and touched a stranger's penis. So,
I mean, haven't we all?
I mean, I'm sitting here not playing an accordion right now and I've touched penises. So, really, we're all this person. God, okay. The next category is soiling yourself submissions. So this is my favorite one because I am a classic for this. I love soiling myself. When I say I love it, I don't love it. I just do it a lot. Here's the first one.
Silently pissed myself waiting in line for the loo. Knee-high boots, full of piss, kept drinking.
Knee-high boots, full of piss. I feel it. Like, I feel it. I really, really do.
That is like spoken word. Knee-high boots, full of piss, kept drinking. Is that a haiku?
Kept drinking. I hope it's like poetry. If there's any poets out there, like, give us the breakdown because it's poetry. It's actual poetry.
Oh my God.
Peed on top of the Eiffel Tower, got mad at the hotel, I put a load of cheese in the vents.
This one is just wild from start to end.
I really love the peeing ones because this is what we need the people to know that, like, if you're an alcoholic, you piss yourself. Like, I'm sorry, I'm sick of hiding it. Like, I have pissed myself in public more times than I care to admit. Like, it's
God, we do have an episode about this coming up because one of my friends was on a date with a bloke and he ended up like he went for a wee, couldn't get his belt undone, just let it rip, and then had to get an Uber home. So I've spoiled the whole episode, but there it is, folks. It's coming to your headphones soon. It's really good.
I once peed in a stranger's bed after we'd been on a bender and convinced them it was them.
I mean, what else could they do? Like that is literally the only thing that they could do in that situation.
It's the only option. I mean, one time my ex from 2 years ago tried to convince me he'd spilled a beer in bed. And I was like, I know you've peed the bed. And he's like, nah, it's beer. And I'm like, well, where's the beer? Where's the cup? Where's the can? He's just like, oh, I must have just took it up and washed it up. I'm like, right, okay. You pissed in my bed. But it was in a share house and I've moved out. So whoever's living there now, sorry.
It's haunted.
Still there.
Peed myself in an Uber and purposely puked to hide it because somehow that was less embarrassing.
That's drunk logic.
That is drunk logic. But I would say that puking is less embarrassing than peeing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think as well, like the fact that it was purposefully puked. Like, I chose this.
This was my choice. Oh.
Drank mouthwash, shit my leggings in front of my dad.
Oh.
Shit my leggings.
I'm wearing leggings right now and I'm uncomfortable.
It's too much. They're too tight. What a mess. Here is our last soiling yourself submission.
Slept in a garbage bag to avoid peeing my bed. Big brain shit.
I mean, that just makes perfect sense.
I love it. I've actually got, I looked into investing in one of those fake tan sack things. So you fake tan, then you get in the sack and it doesn't go on your sheets. And this is kind of like that.
I've never heard of that before.
It's amazing. It's called a tansy and it's like a sleeping bag and you just get inside it and you can be tanned.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I think we should patent like peeing yourself garbage bags. If you're going to bed pissed, you just get in your little rubber sleeping bag and go to sleep. Okay,
we just started something amazing right now.
Genuinely. Guys, no one steal that idea. That's me and Loz McQ's patented.
It's ours. We have the receipts.
Right. Our next category is injury submissions. So this is one of my favorite categories, but a lot of these are just depressing, but let's go through them.
Woke up with a black eye and a broken tooth. Flew to a modelling job. Client wasn't happy.
Well, tell you what, neither would I be happy about that. Too fuming, to be honest. God, I think if the person I hired flew to my modelling job for me, had a black eye and a broken tooth, I'd probably try and make it some kind of trend. It depends how high-end this modelling job is. If it's Vogue, maybe that could just be, part of the shoot. It could be derelict.
Yeah. It's like the gap in the tooth, in the middle of the teeth was big for a while, like a broken tooth. That's going to be...
Get the London look.
Absolutely. London Alky look. I feel that.
So good.
Pinky toenail ripped off in a sliding door during a blackout. Gave toenail to a stranger.
Man, that is nasty. I think, was it a gift? Did they ask you to give it to them? I have questions.
It's like, was it Vincent van Gogh sent his ear to someone? Like, this is art, actually. This is performance art, giving your toenail to a stranger.
Oh my God.
4 days no sleep, laptop died, convinced hacked, got mate to delete my accounts, ate my SIM card.
It's that last bit that does it for me.
Ate my SIM card. So I put this in injury because eating your SIM card, I feel like that can't be good for you. It's injuring yourself from the inside out. Oh, the next one is for injuries.
We went out for a few ones, woke up on the side of the road, missing 2 teeth and half my finger.
Oh, half my finger. Oh.
That is huge. You're never growing that back.
Where did it go? Did someone eat it? It's like, where did it go?
Maybe he gave it away as a gift, just like that toenail person. Maybe it's the same guy. Oh my God, just slowly mutilating himself and sending parts of himself to people in the mail. One by one. Right, here is our last injury submission.
I put a lit cigarette behind my ear because I forgot I lit it.
I've totally done that sober.
Really?
100% I've done that sober.
I want to know what happened next. Like, hair catch on fire? What's going on?
How long was it there? Like, did it go, oh yeah, when did you realise?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, did you realise once your head was alight? I've put it in injury submissions because I assume so.
Nice, I like that.
The next few are our love submissions. So sometimes we do things when we're in love, but also when we're drunk or fucked up. And this goes to show that very well. So,
asked sobbing if my boyfriend still loved me. Why? He wouldn't let me eat an uncooked frozen pizza.
It's very unreasonable of him, quite frankly.
Seriously. I mean, I would also question if my boyfriend still loved me if he wouldn't let me do that.
She had every right to know. I'm on her side here.
Why? Why? Imagine trying to think of an answer to why. Like, you know what? You've got me. There is no reason why you shouldn't eat that. Go ahead.
Showed up at an ex's house wasted. He didn't answer, so I played dead on his lawn.
Oh my God. This is like, I saw a meme the other day that was like, it was a person floating in a pool and it goes, me on holidays pretending to drown and see if my mum would care.
Oh my God.
Did you do that too?
Yeah.
Why did we all live the same life? It's so weird.
Oh man.
Imagine him walking out being like, he wouldn't even think she'd dead. He'd just be like, what are you doing?
There's a drunk bitch on the dump like on my lawn. That was me. I am the drunk bitch. I would do that. I would 100% do that.
Genuinely. Like, if I wasn't sober right now going through this breakup, you know I would have been there on the lawn, sprawled. Hello. Oh, right. Here's our last love submission.
Woke up covered in catnip in an effort to get the cat to cuddle me in a drunk sobbing sesh.
Oh my God.
Oh man, this is levels of loneliness. So many levels of loneliness.
Literally, there should have been an animal segment really, but a lot of them slotted nicely and this one slotted into love. So
perfectly.
Okay, so up next is our drug submissions. So, first one.
I once took some coke out of a friend's nose. He was sleeping.
Oh my God.
Horrendous. I love it.
That is so cursed. Like, I'm just imagining like, getting your fingers right up in there and scooping. Like, what the fuck?
This is why I love these so much, because it's like, I'm laughing, but I also relate. I'm laughing, but I'm laughing because like, same. Like, I am, like, yes.
I just can't believe like people are actually, they must really think you're just, you know, a meme page and not a human on the end. Because some of these submissions, I'm like, how do they even see the light of day? I love it. It must be like, oh, this is an anonymous box. No one will read this. And you're just a person on the other end like, I know everything. Oh, here's our next one.
Took acid and was eating a shit soft pretzel, so I started eating children's soft toys instead.
Where did you get them? Where would you get the soft toys? And also, this should be an injury submission because that's not good for you.
I can see why. Like, they look yummy. Like the pastel colors, or like, you know, I would chow down on it like a Care Bear. Like I would
chow down.
Yeah.
Don't they smell nice too? They've got like flavors and stuff. Care Bears. They have strawberries on and everything. I'm
about to do this in sobriety. This sounds fucking great. Like,
knife and fork, just roast it up. Nice. Oh, the next one is this is one of my favorite ones.
Jury service on Ket lasted 3 days, got kicked off for eating whole melon with my hands.
This is my absolute favorite. Like this, whoever you are, I don't know who any of these people are. Like, I don't look at their names, I don't check up on people's like accounts, but like whoever you are, if this was you, this is my favorite ever submission.
And like just the audacity and the chaos of jury service on Ket. Like
3 days!
And absolute anarchy. Like, this person doesn't give a fuck. Oh my God. Right. This is my favorite category, just weird submissions. So these are the submissions that everyone had that didn't fit into another category nicely. These are literally just some of the most fucked up things I've ever read. So
drunk at a Renaissance fair, tried to steal a horse, puked on the White Ferry, got kicked out.
A fairy tale.
A fairy tale.
If I was a Disney princess, that would be my film.
Oh, I love the way you say film. It's so Scottish. My old housemate was Scottish, and every time she said, should we watch a film? And we're all like, film. That one's incredible.
Drunk at work, busted putting limes in the dishwasher for being slutty.
That collection of words, man, that's a poem. That's an actual poem.
That's a poem. Busted putting limes in the dishwasher for being slutty.
Like someone put that into like a Rupi Kaur style like art thing. Like, and that is a poem.
Oh, you really need to start doing that, is doing Rupi Kaur like artworks with some of these.
Oh, mate, that's such a good idea. Okay,
that is such a good meme idea. Guys, if you're listening, don't steal this. It's Loz McQ's. It's patented.
We've got the receipts.
God, this is a great brainstorming session, I've got to say. Here's the next one.
Accidentally joined a cult while on a couple of month bender.
Accidentally is my favorite thing ever. Like, oh, I accidentally got a tattoo. I accidentally got a new job. There's so much thought into these decisions. You didn't accidentally join a cult.
Questions, so many questions.
I know. And what kind of cult? Like, what cult is accepting you? You know, you're clearly a liability. Oh, we've only got a few more, which is quite sad, but I'm sure we'll have to do an episode 2 with some new submissions.
Absolutely.
So the next one is
got drunk, broke into a construction site, started a tractor, woke up in jail.
Oh, yeah.
That was a wild ride from start to finish as well. That could be a film, I think.
I love the tractor ones. I've just got such a soft spot for anything with a tractor.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Just the fact that, like, operating heavy machinery, just do not do it under the influence. So, like, going for a fucking tractor, like, that's so alcoholic.
I feel like if you see a tractor as well, your first instinct is, oh, I'd love to drive that.
Yes.
Like with the big ass wheels as well. You see that, you're like, ooh, love to drive that.
Yeah, you're God. When you're in a tractor, you are God.
You're really high up as well. You're above all the other cars. It just looks appealing as fuck.
And then you wake up in jail.
And then you wake up in jail. Yeah, do not try any of these at home. Must caveat that.
Oh, please don't.
Oh, here's our third last one.
I shaved half my head and woke up to a bag of hair and a hangover.
So I used to have this thing where we called it a disco fringe, where we'd get drunk and cut fringes on our friends. And listening to Donna Summer, so this just reminded me of like the disco fringe, hair and being drunk. Like I'm amazed I didn't do this because I loved cutting my hair when I was drunk.
It is fun. I was at a hostel in Budapest called Retox, and it's literally opposite of a detox. You're retoxifying. Yeah, it's the most cursed place that I've ever been. And we ended up shaving half of my friend Sarah's head, like the bottom half.
Oh, God bless her.
And then duct taping the hair to this bloke's head, and he just had a rat's tail for like 4 days of her hair.
Oh my God. That's horrendous.
It's so fucked up. And then she got a tattoo of like some Egyptian sign or something on the bald part. It was amazing.
Oh, what a story.
Yeah, it was a great place. But Retox sadly closed in the pandemic, so it's a blessing and a curse. I know, it was a really beautiful place, but only if you drink. If you were there sober, it would be an absolute nightmare.
Genuinely.
A literal real life nightmare. Here is the second last one.
Thought the Russian mob was after me, asked a liquor store clerk to help me get political asylum.
Like they would be able to help you do that.
You know, when you're in it, like the liquor store clerk is your gateway to reality. Liquor store clerk is your gateway to feeling safe and held and loved. So of course the liquor store clerk, that's really hard to say with my accent, liquor store clerk can help you get political asylum.
I feel like they're also quite a good benchmark for what's normal. Like you go in there and you're like, right, have to act normal, have to act not drunk in case they don't serve. Like the bloke does not care how pissed you are. They've got it's an off license. They're just chilling. They've probably got a TV behind the thing just watching sport. And you go in there and you're like, right, have to look cool, have to look calm, collected. And then you get a bottle of whatever and they're just like, yeah, 10 quid. And you're like, oh, thank God he didn't realize I was drunk. He does not care.
My favorite ones as well is like when you're underage and they're just like, oh, what age are you? They won't even ID you. They're just like, oh, what age are you? And you're like, I'm 18. Like at 15 years old, like, all right, on you go.
Yeah, or you panic and you go 35. You look about 10. They're like, yep, cool, good to check. Oh, right. Here is our very last submission, which I'm quite sad about, but
I once truly believed I was in the center of a global Nazi art laundering conspiracy.
Truly believed.
Truly.
Just gives that the weight that it deserves.
Yeah, like it's not like you just sort of believe, maybe I'm the center of a global Nazi art laundering conspiracy. No, I truly believe that I am. I am the center of a global Nazi art laundering conspiracy.
I get it. Like, I completely thought the CIA was monitoring me. Like I was like, I was a student, like doing I had nothing going on. I wasn't doing anything illegal, and I was like, the CIA want me dead.
This is literally the same capacity as the liquor store owner. They do not care.
Yeah, totally. Oh, I feel that in my bones. I truly do.
The best thing about sobriety is also realizing no one cares, like, and in the nicest possible way, no one cares what you do. Like, and I think I was so scared to, tell people I wasn't drinking. On dating apps, I'm always so scared, but like, no one cares. No one cares what you do. Like, if you're out at dinner and everyone's having a wine and you just don't get one and don't say, no one even knows.
Yeah. I always think it's going to be like such a big deal. Like, I'm going to have to like bare my soul. I'm going to have to like do this, that. Yeah. And I think, it's like, I say it usually and then it never gets brought up again in the company, that if it's people that I don't know. And like, I've been on a couple of dates and there's only one person that's kind of like pushed it a little bit. They've been like, oh, why don't you drink? What do you like when you drink? And it's like, I'm just kind of like, well, first of all, it's none of your business. And I'm like, oh, it's better when I don't. And like, but usually people just, they don't care. They're not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves.
Exactly. It's like when I always say this, it's like when you have a massive spot and you think you look so ugly and so different. But if someone else pointed out a spot on their face, you'd be like, I literally didn't notice. I'm so self-absorbed.
100%. Yeah.
God. Well, thank you so much, Loz McQ, for joining the podcast. This has been one of my favorite episodes ever. We're going to have to do a part 2 because there was just too many to cut from this. So we could be within a reasonable episode time. But yeah, thank you so much. Is there a note that you wanted to leave it on before we say goodbye?
Like, if I was to finish on one thing, like I love reading these because it just reminds me of how fucked up I was and how much I needed to get sober. And I'm so glad to be sober. I'm so glad that the people that submit them are sober today and that we can kind of just share in this like collective experience and just kind of like I think it was Amy Dresner that said in her podcasts, like, if you own it, no one has anything on you. So like, I'm not ashamed today of the stuff that I did. fixed the stuff that needed fixing. And now, you know, I can look myself in the eye. So like sharing this and all the levity and the humor, just like, you know, it's we don't have to be ashamed anymore.
It's just like at the end of 8 Mile with Eminem when he sings about all his own flaws and he's like, what else can you say, bro? I've already said it. I already know.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The only way out is through Loz McQ, and that is something that I live by. So thank you so much for joining the pod, and I'll speak to you very soon.
Oh yeah, part 2 coming up.
Part 2, yeah. I hope you enjoyed my chat with the lovely Loz McQ. Please let me know on my Instagram. It's @madsworld.mp3 if you have any stories or thoughts of your own to share, or if you would rather submit anonymously, submit through my website. It's madsworld.co. Love and elbow taps. Peace.